Este episodio es presentado por Verónica Navarro Realtor y The Technical College of the Lowcountry. Gracias por apoyar nuestra misión.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Yo Soy the Boss Opportunities in today's podcast. We appreciate you joining us, connect, share this episode because we have so many or much information to share with you. And to do that, we welcome Taylor Welborn. How are you, Taylor?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being able to be here. Taylor is an executive director of admissions, enrollment, and student success at the Technical College of the Lowcountry. That's a long title, and that's I feel like that's a huge or important role that you have at TCL. How is that for you? How do you feel about that?
It's a really exciting role. Yeah. I've been at TCL for about 5 years now, and it's been really nice just to see TCL grow. And as TCL grew, I was able to grow with it. And so my position really does cover the beginning of the funnel from the application all the way through the end of getting students enrolled and getting them across that graduation line.
Wow.
So as you can imagine, my days are busy, but so rewarding.
Yeah. And I think we want to talk about that a little bit in each of the processes that you just mentioned, from the enrollment process through, re-registering for classes throughout, the entire course, whether it is a 2-year degree program or a diploma or certificate. I'm sure they function very similar in some ways, but we want to talk about the differences between the 3 different, programs, if you don't mind. Enrollment, is that actually that you had an event today for registering for the spring semester?
Yes, exactly that. So today we had our registration rally, and that is a specific event for currently enrolled students, asking them to come in and pick their classes for the next semester. We're currently registering for spring 2026. Those classes begin January the 12th.
And is that just for new students or continuing students or both?
So today's event, we're specifically for continuing students to help them get their next level of courses. But then we have an additional event next Wednesday called Walk-In Wednesday, and that is for our new students as well as continuing students.
Wow. Interesting. Do you see a lot of students come in, and is it just by themselves, or do you see a lot of parents coming in with them? Specifically, I'm thinking maybe not today because now it's continuing, but with new registration, do you see a lot of parents still being involved in that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anytime we have a first-time freshman is how we refer to them. So they're brand new to college. Normally they come in with a support system, whether it's mom and dad. Sometimes they're bringing in aunt, uncle, grandparents, whoever that they really lean on and look to for support and guidance. They're bringing them in just to really write down notes quick so that they don't forget anything, because there's a lot in the beginning of the enrollment process, and it all feels really important in the moment, and they don't want to miss that.
Yeah, so. I can understand that. Let's go back a little and let's talk about TCL, itself. What kind of programs or degrees do TCL offer?
Sure. So we offer around 65 programs right now, and those vary in lengths between certificates, diplomas, and degrees. Really, your key difference between all 3 of those are going to be the time in which it takes to reach or obtain that conferral. So degrees are typically going to take you about 2 years to complete. Certificates are going to run about a year to a year and a half, and then diplomas can run 1 semester to 1 full year. But all of these are industry recognized credentials, and really do give you the advantage to kind of level up, if you will.
Okay. The diplomas, which subjects or what can one get a diploma for?
Sure. So our cosmetology program is a diploma program. And then I believe we have 1 or 2 others that live on the health science side that you can get. The diplomas are typically going to be the smallest amount of offerings that you'll find with us. And then our next level up would be certificates. We have at least 35 certificates that you can get at TCL. The most popular right now are residential electrician, HVAC, and cybersecurity.
And how long are those? Like a year and a half, you said, the certificates?
Yep. So your HVAC and residential electrician can typically be completed in about a year. Same thing with cybersecurity, so long as you are taking summer classes as well.
Okay. Wow. And if someone gets a certificate in that, do they usually, how does that convert to the workforce? Are they able to open their own companies, or they have to work with someone to perhaps gain experience, especially if they're new? Like we're talking about like high school students or students that are just graduating from high school.
Sure. So the best way to answer this is really to go program specific. Okay. So if that's all right, I'd like to use HVAC as an example. Yeah. So for an HVAC student brand new into the program, you would complete the certificate, and then from there you would be ready and have the skills and knowledge to go obtain your state licensure, so that you can then go out and work. Typically what we see from freshly graduated students is they end up becoming a subcontractor. So they're working underneath someone, they're shadowing someone and gaining the hands-on experience on the job.
That makes sense.
Right after they complete their certificate. But in certificates such as these, we have a very unique opportunity where you can actually nestle or bundle a few certificates together alongside general education courses and build your own degree pathway.
Wow.
So we have a lot of students specifically in HVAC that come in and they also want our construction management certificate or our residential electrician to bundle and make them more competitive in the job market. And they turn that into degrees.
Wow.
Once you have your degree, you can then open your own business.
Are those being kind of like super popular programs right now?
So popular right now.
What are your, at this point, do you see students joining or enrolling in TCL trying to seek their 2-year degree, or is it certificates, or is it diplomas? Right now, what's the most popular program at TCL as of today?
So I will say that typically TCL carries very favorably and heavy in enrollment with health sciences.
Okay.
So you will always see a high demand for health sciences. All of our students are traditionally on campus for those classes. So you can definitely point out like your physical therapy assistant or nursing student on campus with us. But I would argue that most of our student interest right now is coming specifically for certificates. Oh, yeah. As I mentioned, residential electrician, HVAC, and cybersecurity are very, very high demand. Just as an example, registration opened on October the 20th, and by October the 23rd, all of our residential electrician offerings for the spring semester were full.
Wow.
And so we were at that point, we were looking to, can we add more classes? What can we do to open more opportunity? Because it's such a high demand field right now.
In your retention rate, do they usually finish out the program, or do you see a lot of the students that are excited at the beginning, but then, things happen? Do they actually see it through? Do they, for the most part, complete?
Yeah, so as you alluded to, you're always going to have some students that are really excited at first and then they kind of drop off. But really what we're finding is they start with a certificate because it seems more attainable. They can almost talk themselves into it. I can carve out one semester. I can dedicate my evenings for a year. But then once they're in it, they're like, well, why not just finish it? Let's just knock out these gen eds and then I can have a degree. So really we're finding them kind of matriculating into that next degree option.
And speaking of that, okay, so, as I mentioned to you before we started the podcast, I worked at TCL and I was amazed at the number of students that were actually transferring from a 4-year college over to TCL. And one of the reasons was because of how great the programs at TCL were, the nursing, radiology, and cost. The cost compared to, Clemson, USC, which are great institutions, obviously,
Absolutely.
but the cost itself, I was seeing a lot of transfers from those institutions, and mainly because of the cost. Is that still the case? right
Absolutely.
now?
You'll definitely still find that to be true, especially in our area. A lot of recent high school graduates, they want to go out to that 4-year institution. They usually give it a semester. They take their courses, and then they just kind of realize maybe this wasn't the right fit for me. I need to walk it back a little bit. And at that point, they come back home because that's your safe space.
Yes.
And that's really a good opportunity, because what you can do is you can balance that the comfort that you get from home, but also still challenge yourself at an academic level with TCL. So you definitely see them transfer back. And really, once they're with us, they stay with us for the full 2 years. They will eventually go back to a 4-year, but they're just so thankful for the hands-on experience, having the seat time. You're not just another face in a crowd at TCL. Your professor knows your name.
Yes.
They know when you're absent. They'll call you out on it the next time you show up in class.
Yes.
Our teachers care.
Yeah. I can definitely attest to that. We're going to put a pause in our conversation because we actually have a question.
So, first of all, thank you for everybody who's connected. Gracias a cada uno de ustedes que se conectan, que están enviando mensajes. Esta pregunta la voy a leer en español y en inglés, ¿ok? ¿Tienen los mismos programas en Bluffton y en Beaufort? They want to know if you have the same programs in Bluffton campus and Beaufort campus.
Oh, so that's actually a really good question. So it truly depends on the program. Your general education courses you can obtain at any of our 4 campus locations, which includes our Bluffton campus, Beaufort, and then also Hampton and Colleton. For industry-specific courses such as HVAC and electrician, which I have spoken about pretty heavily so far in our conversation, both of those are primarily instructed out of our Beaufort campus. And that is just because of the equipment needs as well as the building size that kind of hands-on instruction demands. We have the most up-to-date facilities located at our Beaufort campus.
Because that is your main campus,
That's
right?
our main hub. Everything else is considered a satellite campus. But I will say, just a little announcement, the New River campus is going to see some growth in the next couple years. And with that growth will come several different labs inside of the building and industrial part of our credentials. So we're super excited.
Amazing. And you also have campuses in Hampton?
Yes, Hampton and Colleton.
Okay. Are they similar in size to the New River campus or smaller?
Yes. So the Colleton campus is going to be a little smaller than what you would see at our New River Bluffton campus. And then Hampton's pretty comparable to that. However, at both of those locations, you're going to find very specific offerings. Hampton does heavy on dual enrollment and general education offerings. And then our Colleton campus has our patient care technician lab as well as our general education courses. Everything else is primarily going to be instructed at our New River or our Beaufort campus.
Okay. But then you also have the flexibility of online courses.
Oh, yes. Which was very, very popular post-COVID, as you guys can imagine. Right now, I would say that about 60% of our students take at least one online class, if not more, in any given semester, which really gives them that flexibility. Something unique to TCL is that we offer something called a hybrid flex course offering. And what that means is that one specific course is provided to a student in 3 different ways. So, for example, Introduction to Business. You're going to have a seated lecture, say Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 to 9:30. But during that same time, it is also live streamed via Zoom. So anyone who has a transportation issue can still participate in the class live. Additionally, that Zoom is recorded and then posted online to our learning management system, Blackboard. So a student can take it asynchronously. After work, they can sign on and complete their assignments and still get that lecture interaction with the professor.
So there's no excuse not
anymore. We're removing those barriers.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, and like I mentioned to you, at the beginning of the podcast or, before we went live, we're going to be interrupted with folks that are connecting and that have questions for you, because I told them this was the time. I don't know if you probably didn't see, but I did do a live video just informing people that you were going to be joining us today. So I said connect and ask questions. Ask as many questions as you want. So, Yair, what you got?
Somebody's asking if you have in the Technical College of the Lowcountry any program for high school students.
Dual enrollment.
Exactly.
Dual enrollment. So, you know, we're going to get into that, but why not? Let's go ahead and jump.
Okay.
Jump on that. So, answer that for me, please.
Sure. So yes, what we call our college offerings for high school students, we call it dual enrollment. And dual enrollment is an opportunity available to any high school student, whether enrolled in a public, private, or charter school within our 4 service county areas. So that's Beaufort, Jasper, Colleton, and Hampton. And then on top of dual enrollment, we also have something called an early college model. So dual enrollment specifically for your juniors and seniors.
Okay.
And it allows you to kind of get a taste of college, 2-3 classes here and there. You get an early experience before you graduate high school.
Okay.
Early college is a model where you get your entire associate's degree before you graduate high school. So obviously there's an academic rigor there, but we have both opportunities, and it's available to all high school students in our 4 service county areas.
What is the cost to either one of those programs to the students? Do they start paying like regular tuition, TCL course tuition, or is there can they qualify through FAFSA for assistance, or is it free?
Sure, that's a really good question. So for dual enrollment students, you do not qualify for FAFSA.
Okay.
The federal grant system requires that students have a high school diploma. So therefore, unfortunately, dual enrollment students are ineligible. However, they are still eligible for state financial aid. So lottery tuition assistance, South Carolina WIN scholarships, the kind of South Carolina money or grants that you would have access to as a graduated student, you also have access to as a dual enrollment student. So that's a really big win.
Yeah.
Now, as far as tuition rates and charges, that really does depend on the school district or the specific school that you are affiliated with.
Okay.
However, the students are all charged the same rate, which is that $228 per credit hour.
Okay.
However, Beaufort County and Jasper County actually absorb the cost of the students' attendance and participation in dual enrollment. So it is free to the parents and students to attend. The school district covers that.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes.
I was willing to ask you to repeat. And please, Veronica, can you translate and say it in Spanish for everybody who's listening in Spanish too, please?
Absolutely. Okay, Taylor, you go first.
Okay.
Repeat that, please.
Dual enrollment is free to students and parents in Beaufort and Jasper County school districts. The county or the school district itself covers the total cost.
Para que se den cuenta, aquellos que están conectándose con nosotros, los estudiantes que están cursando la preparatoria en el 11º y 12º grado, que están elegibles para poder comenzar a tomar clases en el colegio de TCL como doble enrollment, dual enrollment, es totalmente gratis, porque el condado de Beaufort y el condado de Jasper se están haciendo responsables al 100% por el costo de esas clases. Así que sus hijos pueden comenzar a tomar o a crear créditos de universidad mientras están cursando la preparatoria sin ningún costo en absoluto. Okay? Wow, that is amazing. Do you see a lot of participation?
So much participation. Yeah. Our total enrollment for the college itself is made up of over 45% dual enrollment students.
Wow.
So students really are taking advantage of early access to college education, and then of course the added perk of not having to incur any financial burden for it. And it's giving our community a leg up.
And in addition to that, for those students that are thinking of moving on to or transferring to a 4-year college, those credits can actually be transferred, yes?
Yes.
So, there's a lot of benefits to being able to, to enroll while they're still in high school. Not only, no cost to them. And we're going to talk about also the requirements, because it's not like you can go relax and not do well and then be able to continue. I'm assuming there are some expectations from the students. Absolutely. And I'd like you to talk about that. But again, free. They're advancing with their credits, and then they'll be able to transfer those credits onto the 4-year institution if they would like. What do they need to do? Oh my goodness. Okay.
We'll
put a pause. We'll put a pause in that. All right. Come on.
People want to know if for the dual enrollment program, the students can enroll in those classes on high school or in college. So they need to go to the college state classes, or they can take it in high school.
So that really depends on the school district in which you're enrolled. We offer both models. To get the process started, you definitely need to begin with your high school counselor and have a dual enrollment conversation with them. And then they will then connect you with us to kind of walk through what that enrollment process looks like. If you are a Jasper County student, we have partnered with them to host TCL courses at the high school campus. So Jasper County students have the ability to enroll at the Ridgeland Secondary Academy and take evening courses there, or at Hardyville High. Our Beaufort County students traditionally take them online, or they visit our New River and Beaufort campuses for dual enrollment.
Wow, interesting. And I know that, at some point, someone asked me if transportation for those students that actually have to go to, the campus, is there transportation provided to them? And I think they're still thinking of like school buses and that. I think I know the answer, but please let us know. Is transportation available to them, or do they have to basically, because at that time they could drive, I think.
Right. So through the traditional dual enrollment model, transportation is not provided at this time. So they are responsible for their own transportation should they choose to enroll in an in-person class. However, the early college model that I had mentioned, Beaufort County actually provides transportation to their program. Their program's called BCSD Tides, and it's a full-time early college model where they are housed at the New River and Beaufort campus and embedded with our college population during the entire school day. So the school bus picks them up, transports them to TCL, and then comes back to pick them up and take them home at 2:30.
And how does a student qualify for that? Because that starts at ninth grade, right?
That starts at ninth grade.
All right. So how does a student qualify for that? What do they need to do?
They need to focus on academic readiness as early as 6th and 7th grade, making sure you're maintaining a high GPA. Okay. And then during the 8th grade, study for that PSAT. Okay. Beaufort County School District uses the PSAT, which is your practice SAT, as the benchmark or placement. You have to place at a certain percentile. I believe right now it is the 92nd percentile in order to be considered as eligible to apply. From there, you choice into this program. Okay. There are other stipulations. There's like an interview that you complete at the school district level. But really, that's the key, is just working very hard during your 6th and 7th grade year to maintain high grades and just get that academic foundation you need in order to be successful in 9th grade.
And I think one of the reasons, correct me if I'm wrong, that is, a requirement is because there is that responsibility of if they come into this program, the GPA is still going to be affected. So that's why you want them ready, because that is going to, carry with them should they decide to go to a 4-year institution. Absolutely. So at 9th grade, students are still, they're coming out of 8th grade and they're still, a little, some of them, a little immature, I'm thinking, and looking forward to, being in high school because, oh my goodness, high school, I'm grown. But once you enter this program, and it's fun and it's great, but it's like this is college in in some sense. So there is that huge, not burden, but it's just a responsibility to actually do well, to be successful, because otherwise, just like it can be an amazing tool, it can also affect you again. With that GPA that will then, if your plan is to go out of state or even in state at a 4-year institution, it could affect you. So
Absolutely. And the classes that you're taking at the college level, for example, English 101, translates directly onto your high school transcript. So not only are you starting a college GPA, which really does follow you into your college journey, but that grade is also transcribed onto your high school transcript. And that plays a huge factor in your acceptance into a four-year institution. So while it's a great opportunity, high reward always comes with high risk. So it's really important to make sure that the student is ready. And as you mentioned, kind of has the maturity in order to understand the heaviness behind the importance of staying on top of your grades. The good news is Beaufort County School District was aware of this and proactively planned and added layers of support on top of our 4 layers of support. So these 9th graders are really surrounded by an incredible team from TCL and Beaufort County School District to make sure they're not falling through the cracks. And if they need help, we're there immediately to provide any support service they need, or if we needed to take retroactive steps in order to protect the transcripts, we could do that as well. So
that's amazing. Well, hi folks, welcome back. And if you thought we were done with today's episode, guess what? We are not. But this is the beauty of technology, right? It's amazing when it works, and then when it doesn't, we still make it work because we're back, right? So keep your questions coming. In the meantime, we just want to basically reiterate the program and how students starting from 9th grade can actually start earning those college credits. So parents, you know, if at the end of, or if you're not able to tune in right now and you have a chance to listen to this podcast and you have questions, Taylor, where can they actually go to TCL to, you know, inquire more about the programs and ask questions that they may not be able to, you know, ask right now, but who did they go to? What department can a parent go to get more information about what TCL has to offer?
Sure. So the best place to start is either at our New River, which is our Bluffton campus, or our Beaufort Mather campus inside of the hub. For Beaufort, you're going to find the hub inside of Building 8. For New River, you're just going to walk in that front door and we're right there. But the hub is really designed to be a one-stop shop. So when you come in, you'll be greeted, and then we will start to kind of feel you out to determine what exactly you would like to have answered today, and then we can connect you to the right person. At both hub locations, there's at least one person in every department. So there's always someone there that can give you an answer. For dual enrollment specifically, you're going to want my assistant director, the dual enrollment coordinator. Her name is Sarah Kane, and she can be reached at either campus as well as via email, dualenrollment@tcl.edu, and she really is the expert behind dual enrollment and Beaufort County School District tides. I also encourage parents and students to reach out to their school counselor, whether at the middle school level or the high school, to kind of start that conversation.
And if your high school student has told you, oh, mom, dad, you can't come with me to, you know, to TCL to get information because they're not allowed to give you info, guess what? That's a lie. That's a lie, because you can still, the parents can still be involved as long as the students are under 18. Yes. So, you know, parents, if you have a, you know, 16, 17 year old student, you can get information and you can actually accompany them, and you will be welcome.
Especially at the first initial meeting, please come. The more support the student has, the more successful they're going to be.
Yes. And I don't know why, but I think Yair is telling me that maybe we have another question, because I just saw you like, you know, tilting your head.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, this is my question. Even if they're turned 18, 19, can we still go and be part? Because we think about, you know, building community. So is that an important value in the Technical College of the Lowcountry, even that our students are already 18 years old or 19?
Yes, absolutely. And you'll continue to see, anytime you visit our campus locations, students are continuously bringing in their support people, whether it's aunt, uncle, brother, sister, mom, dad, grandparents. They are consistently joining them during their advising sessions. As long as the student approves the presence,
Yeah.
then we are absolutely supportive, and we would encourage you to come, especially during those first initial meetings, because there's so much information shared and sometimes you can't capture it all. So it's really nice to have extra set of eyes and ears in there to ask the questions that maybe they're not thinking about.
That's right. So yes, you guys are welcome. And also, I just want to let everyone know that TCL is not it's not just for high school students in dual enrollment. I actually am a graduate of TCL, and this was while I was working at TCL. Okay. So, folks who have been out of school for a long time and you've been thinking of coming back and start taking some courses, they can actually enroll for like a class or two. Is there a limit? For example, if someone who works full time wanted to take one class per semester, is that allowed?
Absolutely. Yep. You can take one class, 4 classes, 3, whatever really fits your current lifestyle. However, we can support. You'll find that we have a wide range of ages at TCL. We have as young as 13 and we have as old as 84.
My goodness, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. I wasn't that old, but I was like in between, but it was great. I mean, it was just great. I was taking evening classes, I was taking online classes, and I was able, again, to transfer those credits onto, a 4-year college, obtain my bachelor's, and it was just a great experience. So, folks, if you are planning or thinking about going back to college, do it. TCL is amazing. And we have another question.
Oh.
Yes, we do. Do you have bilingual staff at your enrollment department?
Yes, we do. So at our New River campus, our financial aid coordinator is bilingual.
Nice.
So we will be able to provide that assistance. Also at our Beaufort campus, while not necessarily in the enrollment office, we have several bilingual individuals in other departments who always are willing to come over, pop in, and try to help bridge that communication barrier.
Okay.
And I am not afraid to whip out Google Translate if I need to. We can do this together. We will find a way.
Thank you. And if you don't mind, I'm going to translate that.
Sure.
Para aquellos que están considerando quizás o que tengan alguna pregunta, TCL tiene personal de habla hispana, especialmente ahorita dijo en uno de los departamentos que para mí es inmensamente importante en una institución que viene siendo el de la ayuda financiera, es financial aid. Cualquier pregunta, ahí tienen a una persona bilingüe, pero también tienen personal que están en otros departamentos, pero en cualquier momento pudieran voluntariarse para asistir en traducir en caso de que necesiten aquella ayuda traduciendo. Así que hay diferentes métodos que están dispuestos ellos a utilizar para poder asistirle en su idioma. So, there's no excuse for anything. It's like you said, 13 years old. I can't even imagine that. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing that students can actually start their college credits at such an early age. Is that very popular?
You'll find it the most popular. Students begin to kind of dabble in college credit in their sophomore year.
Okay.
So that's probably the most popular. We're seeing 15-year-olds, they're ready. But you never know. Sometimes they're just ready earlier. And who are we to deny that opportunity? If they're academically ready, let's do it. Why not give them early access?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to share with our audience?
Sure. So I do want to announce the 2 new health science programs that we are onboarding. We're incredibly excited to offer patient care technician. And that program pathway is actually going to include 3 different certifications: EKG, CNA, and phlebotomy, in one, bundled nicely in one program. We're also onboarding medical lab technician. There's such a high demand with Novant Health building additional locations here, and then we've got BMH as well. So we're very excited to onboard both of those programs and contribute to the health industry.
When I was, and we'll get to the question in just a moment, but I want to continue on this. Again, while I was working at TCL several years ago, I remember that before Memorial, at that time, the students that were graduating with like nursing degrees or radiology, they would like hire them on the spot and be able to also sponsor their continuing education because they wanted them to actually get a bachelor's degree. Absolutely. Do you know if that's still the case? Are there still those partnerships in place?
There sure is. And I can't recall the specific name, so don't quote me, but I believe it's the PATH program. So BMH does have an educational funding model where if they've graduated with us, they can continue to go complete their BSN pathway. So.
Amazing. Okay. Next question.
Okay, una persona con educación en otro país puede inscribirse en TCL. They want to know if a person with a high school diploma from a different country could enroll in TCL.
Yes, they sure can. There is one additional step that that you would need to complete. You would need to get the transcripts evaluated through an evaluation service. There are several evaluation services out there, and they all charge varying prices. So I highly recommend doing your research. But some that we see pretty regularly are WES, which is WES, as well as Spantran. Okay. They're very fast. They actually work with the country's Department of Education that you need your transcript from. They'll obtain it, translate it, and evaluate it. From there, they send it directly to us, and then it's just like a regular transcript. We process it, and you're ready to enroll. Really, the biggest barrier is going to be your timeline. It takes 3 to 4 weeks for that entire process to come through. But really, as long as we're planning ahead of time, it will not be a barrier to enrollment.
Do you know if it's, the cost approximately to do that?
It really depends based on the country and how many documents. Some students are coming in with a high school diploma as well as a college degree from another country. And that, of course, is going to increase the price. But my understanding is Spantran is doing transcript evaluations for as little as $150.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, we've seen some come through that are closer to $600 and $700. It just depends on how many credentials.
Like you said, yeah. And then some may have from one university and another. And exactly so that usually will increase the cost. What are the requirements for someone to be eligible to enroll? Not so much GPA in that, but status, like legal status. Can someone with an F1 visa enroll or take courses at TCL? Permanent resident, Can they do that? What is the minimum requirement that you have to be able to enroll?
So we do require proof of citizenship at the time of enrollment. So just proof of legal presence. That is really the bar. We need proof of legal presence. And then from there, the specifics really only determines your residency or tuition rate.
Okay.
But to be admitted, we just need proof of legal presence. Okay. From there, so for example, any work authorization card under a C08 or C33 status. So DACA students or our asylee students, those students are permitted to attend. Okay. Permanent resident card holder, as you mentioned. We do offer international student admission as well with an F1 visa, so we will be your sponsor if that's something that the student is interested in. But if you're already here underneath a specific work authorization card or permanent resident card, you can absolutely attend TCL.
And you mentioned the rate, and I'm assuming is in-state or out of state, and what it could, depending on the status, what it would be. So someone with a DACA status, would that be considered in-state or out-of-state tuition?
DACA status would be considered out-of-state tuition. The C08 asylee status as well is considered an out-of-state tuition rate. Okay. But your permanent resident card holders, your H-1B or H-4 visa holders are eligible for in-state tuition.
Okay. And that is a good, a bit of a difference in price.
Yes, absolutely.
Per credit course. Well, let me see. How right now, like I said, when I worked at TCL, the health sciences programs were immensely popular, and you had like a long wait list, especially for nursing, radiology, physical therapy. Is that still the case right now? Is that
It's still incredibly popular.
Yeah.
I will say our enrollment is at least 55% health science interested. Excuse me. But the wait lists themselves, we've been able to onboard additional cohorts. And so while a very competitive program, and we want to make sure we're getting the best of the best, because they're going to be our nurses, they're going to be advising us on the health and our well-being. So we want the best, but we are finding very high success rates for our student population, and those that don't get in typically will find success in the next application window.
Wow. Yeah, like I said, TCL, it's a very, in my view, very loved institution here, because it's been able to provide so many opportunities to students. Again, the tuition is so reasonable compared to, again, a 4-year institution, which are great, but just for the prerequisite courses, it's an excellent path to be able to go through and then get those credits transfer and continue on to whatever it is they want to become, with that heavy burden or expense at the very beginning, especially for those students that are in high school or coming out of high school. It's a way to get adjusted to the college experience before they go off again away from home. And then, it's very helpful, because a lot of times what happens is they don't realize that first year is so important to their success.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being patient with our technical difficulties. And we have more questions. So
let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Just we can finish with this, and of course, a final message. Are those visa requirements needed for dual enrollment?
Yes, that is correct. So you would need proof of legal presence for dual enrollment participation as well. But the residency statuses and the tuition rates remain the same. I do just want to add that friendly reminder that even if you're assessed that out-of-state tuition, if you're enrolled in Beaufort County or Jasper County School District, your tuition is still covered by the school district. So no out-of-pocket cost is incurred.
And I'm so glad that you clarified that, because I would have thought that could have been an exception to, the school district covering those expenses for students enrolled in a dual program if they had that, legal status. So thank you, Beaufort County. Thank you, Jasper County, for being so good to our students, and for the partnerships that they, make with TCL. Which is great. Anything you any message, anything that you think we missed that you really want to touch up on?
I really think we've covered from beginning to end as far as what TCL can offer. I did, just because we got so many dual enrollment questions, I did just want to quickly plug in those eligibility requirements. So if you're looking for a career or technical education pathway, your aim is for a 2.5 GPA on your high school transcript. If you're looking for your general education courses, those transfer credits, your aim is a 3.0 GPA for eligibility criteria.
Okay.
And then just a final closing message, kind of echoing what you said earlier. It's never too late to start your journey at TCL. Whether you start it slow or you jump right in, now is the right time to begin your future.
That's right. The right time is your time. It's what works for you, and there's so much flexibility. So we encourage you, if you haven't already done so, visit TCL, the Beaufort or New River campus, or anyone that is closest to you. Get information, and if not, tcl.edu is the website. It's always been very clear, user-friendly, and a lot of the information is available at your fingertips. But if not, again, there are so many nice folks at the campus that are more than willing to answer any questions and help you and guide you through the process. Again, key is to be successful, and they're here to help you do that.
Absolutely.
Right? Thank you so much for joining us today, and keep your questions coming. If in the event we're no longer connected and things come to your head, we will be checking and we will be referring you or answering or pointing you to the right folks to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next Thursday at 6 p.m. Ciao.
Este episodio es presentado por Verónica Navarro Realtor y The Technical College of the Lowcountry. Gracias por apoyar nuestra misión.